Gentlemen, welcome to Jahaneman. Today is Monday. The Monday is dedicated for the teachers, and we are here to motivate our teachers. As you all know, that the mission of Jahaneman is to motivate million teachers, and I am grateful to all those who are helping and supporting us in our mission of motivating million teachers. Today we have Muhammad Zubair, Mr. Muhammad Zubair from Jamia Millia Islamia, who is here to motivate the teachers, and he is going to motivate in such an innovative way that he is going to make them more effective than before. You know, a work well done is a motivation in itself. If you are teaching properly and effectively and you are proud of your classes, you are proud of your teaching, naturally it's going to give you more confidence and it's provide motivation to you for further progress. So I welcome Mr. Muhammad Zubair Sahab to the show. Yes, hello, Mr. Zubair. How are you?
Hello, ma'am. I'm doing good. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum, all of you. Good evening. And Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. I'm doing good. I'm well. What about you?
So we are also good, and Jahaneman is grateful to have you here today. Every Monday we have educationists here, those who are motivating the teachers, especially during pandemic, where their moral is quite down, and they all feel that all the sectors of the society of the life is open except education sector.
Yes,
But hopefully it's going to open very soon. But anyway, if it
Inshallah.
is not open face to face, it's open virtually, and we all are doing our best virtually. So what are you going to speak about today?
Today I will speak about effective teaching learning. How can we make effective teaching learning in the class, and how a teacher must be deal with students, because class is diverse in nature. Diversity is there in the class, and different type of students are there in the class. So as a teacher, it's our duty to observe them and to give support system, how and which kind of caliber they have. So according to their caliber and their strength and their weaknesses, we have to teach them. So today I will talk on this.
Thank you very much and wish you all the best. Would you like
Thank
to
you,
share
ma'am.
your screen or you are going to present verbally?
Uh, I can present verbally. Firstly, I will tell something about the teachers, because teachers are those who can mold their students and according to their needs. Because if a teacher is a good observer, he can observe their strengths and weaknesses in the class, and individual differences are there in the classes. According when we talk about the interest and the aptitude and the severity of the students. So as a teacher, always we make some goals, or you can say the specific objectives, long-term goal or the short-term goal, and we have to achieve those goals. And to achieve those goals, we have to do a lot of things in our classes. We have to perform, we have to observe, we have, there are lots of things we can do in the class. So teacher is a role model, and for the students, and teacher is the mentor, teacher is the facilitator, and he's a manager, you can say. And he always play a vital role, because nowadays teaching is a two-way process, and we have to involve the student our students in the teaching learning process. And if we are involving them, because in my opinion, every child is unique, and every child requires unique instruction by special trained professionals. And we have to motivate them, and we have to uh, you know we have to achieve their highest potential, and strive to progress beyond their limitations up to their maximum potential. This is the duty of a teacher. And family and the teachers are a source of support and encouragement and love. But sometimes, as a teacher, we don't observe our students what they are feeling, because we are not teaching only in the academic areas. We have to develop, we are talking about the holistic approach, we are talking about the overall development, and about physical development, the emotional development, or we have to make them emotionally strong, we have to make them socially interactive. Because if they are not able to interact with other peoples, they won't learn, because we learn from environment, we learn from training. So as a teacher, it's our duty. So Firstly, as a teacher must be, well, his skills must be good in their area. For example, if I am a teacher of maths, if I am a teacher of science or any subject, so I have to be, expert in my area. My skills, communication skills must be good, and my nature must be good, and enhancing good rapport, enhancing good relationship, and strengthening. We have to strengthen the bonds with students, because students are, very keen to talk to you, but sometimes teacher don't give time to them, they don't interact with them. So we have to motivate our students, we have to build their self-esteem, make them happier, making, making them mentally and emotionally strong. So coping skills when life changes take place. So as a teacher, we have to do a lot of things in the class, and we have to follow psychologically many principles in the class. As a teacher, it's our duty, because for example, if I go to the class, and firstly, the first thing is that, for example, if I join my class first time, so what is my duty? What is my duty is that, because class is diverse in nature, diversity is there in the class. Some students are high achievers, some students are medium, some students have from different backgrounds, some belongs from marginalized society. So some there are lots of barriers, language barriers, or the, gender barriers. So as a teacher, we have to, maintain all those things, because we have to empower the whole class. And as a teacher, if your vision is clear, your goal is clear, and how to deal with them, the clarity, the enthusiasm, the pace, the rapport with the students, the knowledge of teacher, the organization, effective communication, positive attitude. These are the things a teacher must have. So, firstly, when we talk about the content knowledge, a teacher must be, very fluent in his content. He must be expert in his content, because if he is good in his area, so he can, communicate with their students, and he can achieve his goals. The next thing is the pedagogical competencies, because if you are able, which method and which style will be, better for which student, that is the important thing, because some students in the class are visual learners, some students are auditory learners. So we have to, we have to view all those things, and student
Yes,
development.
Mr. Zubair, I'll just interrupt here. You are talking about individual differences among the students and
Yeah,
their different learning style. So
yeah, yeah,
exactly, if we look at our classrooms today, where the teachers are teaching like 35 to 40, and sometimes in some cases 55 to 60 students in a class. So do you really find that is going to be practical, and how we can like guide the teachers, that how in their own ways they can maintain differentiation in the class, like different style for different students, or maybe at content level also they can differentiate, they can have something simpler to the students who are low
yeah,
achievers. Yes, so how
yeah.
will you advise them?
Okay. Firstly, when we talk as a teacher, firstly, we have to observe, we have to assess where the students are right now, the present scenario of the students, where they are right now. Firstly, we have to assess them, because according to the, Vygotsky theory, social development theory, he said that there is a gap between his current potential and, where he should be. But that gap is, we have to fill. That is the you are asking about the scaffolding, how to fill that gap. So we can use many things in the class. For example, we have to check their previous knowledge, individual differences, mental readiness, meaningfulness, and we have to teach them simple to complex. And we have to make some plans: pre-active stage, interactive stage, and post-active stage. There are three stages: before the teaching, during the teaching, and after the teaching. We have to assess them, and we have to mold them, because as a teacher, if you are not doing all these things, and you are asking about how can we deal them, so the important thing is that we can make some groups in the class. For example, we can use peer tutoring in the class, because as I as I told you earlier that all students are not equal in the class in their caliber. So you have to make some groups, some high achievers, some low achievers. Peer tutoring is a good teaching style in the class when you are busy in the other schedule, because you are facilitator, and the peer will teach the other peer. So that would be cooperative learning is the way by we can use in the class. And we have to provide such environment. Classroom management is also important. We have to provide such environment where we have to produce a problem in front of them, and they have to, and teacher should play a facilitator role only. And the other thing is that multisensory approach, the effective use of various senses for receiving information from various sources. For example, sensory means involves, and multi means more than more. So when we talk about the auditory learner, some students are very auditory learner in the class, because I have good experience how to deal with them. So they learn reading by listening to someone present information orally, and by being allowed to discuss and ask questions. Because sometimes, for example, students are not able to learn by text. They are reading the text and they are not getting. So you can record all the lectures and record lectures for repeated listening. You can use rhymes to help memorizing. They can listen your recordings as a study material while they are at home. And paraphrase directions, talk about illustrations and diagrams we can talk about. So these are the things. And interactive lecture we have, because teaching is nowadays is interactive phenomena. And interactive lecture must be, we have to involve our students. We have to provide them opportunity to interact. If you are not providing them opportunities, you are not providing them, because learning by doing is important. You have to make some such environment where they have to learn, utilize sounds during the lectures, and allow students to engage in small groups, conversation during the class, ask students during the class, allow students to give verbal responses. Some students are visual learner in the class, because they see and they learn at very high pace. They learn by seeing words in the printed form, or by using graphics and the pictures or videos. Because nowadays in the pandemic, we are using the audio visual aids, and there are lots of apps are available. So take notes, use clue words for recalling. You can use colored highlighters to color code text. You can use charts, diagrams, working non-working models in the class. You can use ICT and technology in the class. There are lots of apps. Use visual when teaching lessons, such as picture, charts, diagrams, maps, outlines. Organize information using color codes. Keep color codes consistent, and provide sample questions. So some students are kinesthetic learners. For example, they learn by performing. They learn, because we are talking about the fine motor and the gross motor skills of the students. Fine motor means students must be good in their gripping, because some students are not well in their gripping. They are not able to hold the pen. So gross motor means the actions they are performing by like jumping, like skipping, all other activities they are doing by their body. So kinesthetic learners are those learners who will learn by performing, who will learn by role playing. We can use role play in the class. We can give them projects, and we can engage them. Because sometimes teacher is not able, because we can, for example, I am giving them assignment or a project for 3 days, and they have to develop a garden in the school. So we can make some groups, and we can they can learn in group, and they will do all the things, engaging in real life activities. So these are the things. Activity based learning I'm talking about, co-curricular activities.
Yes, thank you, Mohammad Zubair. You have given a very valid point here, a wonderful idea that we have to ask the children to develop a garden within a few days. That is like project-based learning you are talking about. So we have many experts here with us. We have Suraya Banu Sahiba, we have Anil Goswami ji, we have Gonka Keskin, we have Dr. Muhammad Ilyas, we have Fatima Sabha, we have Daisy, we have Professor Paula Press. So now I ask our eminent speakers here, or eminent scholars, so what do they think about the project-based learning? how effective it is when we are talking about offline or online mode of teaching learning. So may I request them to kindly unmute themselves and then express their views on project-based learning. Yes, Madam Suraya. We are discussing here project-based learning. So if you have to add on anything or if you have any idea about project-based learning, you are most welcome to share with us. Professor Paula, do you prefer project-based learning in your classrooms? Are you engaging the students in project-based learning? अनिल जी, आप क्या सोचते हैं? What is your idea of project-based learning?
You see, good evening everyone.
Good evening, sir.
आदाब सबको. मैं इन मोहम्मद ज़ुबैर साहब की बातों से बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ. I am really, convinced whatever he has talked so far. So only thing I want to say, every teacher should be PhD. I don't mean PhD in qualification. PhD means P for passion, H for hunger, and D for discipline. This is what everybody has to learn. So the teacher must understand what are the tastes, what are the niche of the students, how well they can engage the students, how how he can create this synergy in the group, so how he can create a sort of community in the group, so that they all work together, because when they work as a team, they always learn more. You can win as a single man, you can win a match, but as a team you can win championship. This is what everybody says. So जब आप इकट्ठे होंगे ना सारे बच्चे, तो एक दूसरे को देख के वो अच्छा खाना भी खाएंगे, अच्छी सेहत भी होएगी उनकी, and they would also love to study also, and it is a great thing what जुबैर साहब ने बोला. बहुत अच्छी बातें बताई हैं. He has told excellent thing. मैं उनसे पूरी तरह से सहमत हूँ जो भी वो कह रहे हैं. Please, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anil Goswami ji. And Anil Goswami ji has given like one more new aspect of.
Good morning.
Yes, good evening. So a new aspect, like Anil ji is now talking about collaborative learning. We have to make a team, and then we have to ask them to collaborate and then learn. Yes, Professor Paula, will.
Hello, I'm sorry. I had some connection problem. I couldn't unmute myself. Well, about breaking the projects, I think that's a very useful way of dealing with different topics in our classroom, because with this we can work not only with our students in groups, and they can exchange ideas, and they also become responsible of different tasks when they are organizing the activity. So this means that they are part of the activity, and then they feel that they are doing something meaningful. Yeah, but also we can work whenever we are talking in a project-based way. We can work with other teachers in our schools in different areas. So, for example, if I have to give you an example that here in Argentina, suppose that there is a festivity that is a national festivity. So all the school works in a project-based way, and they take into account different aspects of the celebration. For example, I don't know, talking about the historical part. So history teachers are in charge of giving background and information and activities about that day. Also about, suppose that there are some typical dancings. Okay, so you have the music teachers, where they will give them, I don't know, the lyrics of the traditional songs and the dances typical for that celebration. So it's very meaningful to organize any kind of festivity, or things like this, that would be a great example. So not only for the classroom, but also for schools, that would make their activities meaningful for the whole school, and all the teachers can participate depending on the area, their academic area. So that I think that project-based learning, it's very up-to-date way of working. Also for teachers, there we have to realize which is the role that we have. As Subi was saying, we have different roles. We are there to guide our students. So we have to accept our new role and to perform it in the best way we can. So this could
Thank
be
you.
my suggestion.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Professor. Thank you,
I'm sorry I
Professor.
couldn't unmute myself before.
It's okay. Thank you very much. And now you have given one more new dimensions by mentioning approach-based learning. So we have learned about like project-based learning, then collaborative learning, then approach-based learning. And here, Madam Suraya is here to add on something more on this. Yes, Suraya, Madam.
Yes, very good evening, one and all. Project-based learning method is based on properly principle of active learning. The student gets totally involved in the activity which helps in enhancing his or her knowledge, understanding, and skills in real life situation, and ultimately in developing a historical personality. That means कॉलेज में जैसे मैं कॉलेज में असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर कंप्यूटर साइंस के सिंस 29 years, कॉलेज में तो हमारे प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग ही है, ग्रेजुएशन एंड अंडर ग्रेजुएशन एंड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन. बट स्कूल में यदि हमारा प्रोजेक्ट वर्क आता है तो उनकी क्रिएटिविटी बढ़ती है, उनकी सोच बढ़ती है. हम जितना एस्पेक्ट उनसे करते हैं उनके उतना ही माइंड और एनहांस्ड होता है, उनकी उतनी इंटरेस्ट बढ़ती है, क्रिएटिविटी बढ़ती है तो उनकी इंटरेस्ट बढ़ती है. दैट्स ऑल.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Suraya Bano, and thank you everyone for adding on. Yes, Anilji, please.
I would also like to add on that teacher must motivate all the students. There should be inclusive development. It should not be a creamy layer, top people. You should try to focus on that. And if you want to motivate even the bottom students, you can make zero to hero also. So anybody can, and the second thing, so as I told, there should be inclusive development. And in project based, so people are given, I have seen they are given, some students are given some money. They are told to do some business, go and buy something and go and sell it in the market. These are small activities. If we ask them to do it, so there is a great learning in that thing. So they get a lot of confidence in that. So in that doing, so then creativity, as told by Surya Bano, so creativity, innovation, automatically it goes up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now you can make zero to hero is really a very lovely dialogue and slogan given by Anil Goswami ji. The teachers have the potential and influence to make zero to hero. Yes, now Mohammad Zubair Saab, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of you, for suggestions. Now I will talk about the tactile learners. Tactile means learn through sense of touch, such as using their hands and fingers, and they learn best their writing and drawing and handwriting. For example, learn best when physically engaged in hands-on training in the class. In the classroom, benefits from a lab setting, assembling and disassembling of puzzles and games, and bear down extremely hard with pencil. Sometimes students are. So we can use clay and tools and many things in the class. They can learn spelling by finger spelling the words, and often doesn't like to read directions, would rather just do it. So these are the learnings. The other thing is that curriculum designing, because curriculum must be must not be rigid, because as a teacher we have to use all the modalities in the class. VACT, VAKT, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile form we can use in the class, and repetition drills and multidisciplinary approach must be there in the school. because nowadays we are talking about the inclusive education, because every teacher must be there in the school. EVGC must be there, music teacher must be there, physiotherapist, occupational therapist must be there, special educator must be there, because every student is unique. They have their potential, and we have to enhance their skills. So we have to, as a teacher, we have to assess their skills. We have to collect gather the ideas, the information of the students from the teachers, from their previous records, their current performance, and learning by doing, and make barrier free environment in the class. Use games, activities, daily life examples relate to their lives. Use worksheets. Hands-on training is the good thing. Different methods according to their needs. Sometimes peer tutoring, sometimes team teaching, sometimes cooperative learning, sometimes collaborative learning. Innovative aids, equipments, innovative methods, audiovisual aids you can use, ICT we can use in the class, because child-centered method, activity-based learning must be there in the schools. And sometimes you need therapies, counseling, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy in the class. Sometimes we need the professionals in the school, like a special educator, like guidance and counselor, for cases, for making case studies of the students, how they are achieving their milestones in the class, functional assessment, and we make individualized education plans. And we have to motivate them. We have to increase their self-esteem. We have to reinforce them during the teaching learning process, and before the teaching, during the teaching, and after the teaching. We have to assess them for feedback, for diagnose the problem, for further teaching. And interactive methods make them attentive. Sitting arrangement and classroom, classroom management is also important. Give extra time. Sometimes we have to give extra time to our students. The most important thing is, I am talking about the adaptation. Adaptation means, adaptation refers to adjusting assessments, material, curriculum for classroom environment to facilitate our students' needs, so he or she can participate in and achieve the teaching learning goal of the teacher, because every teacher has their own goals and he has to achieve. So the best approach through collaborative problem solving, it maximizes the participation in physical curriculum, and it facilitates the teaching learning process. Adaptation covers two terms, accommodation and modification. And they sometimes people feel they both are same, but accommodation and modification are the both different terms. And as a teacher, we have to use these things in the class. Both accommodation and modification are considered adaptation, but there are some significant differences. Accommodation means changes in how a student assess information and demonstrate learning are used in classroom instruction. For example, accommodation in the form of adaptation occurs when teacher differentiate instruction. For example, if I am giving my child to some work, for example, I am giving to him text in text form, and he is not able to understand in text form. So as a teacher, I can change this text into audio or video form. So this is the accommodation. Sometimes if a child is low vision, so we can enlarge the print. Sometimes I am teaching with the demonstration method, but student is not able to learn. So I have to change my method in the class. I have to change different method. So these are the things in accommodation. Sometimes we can use these things effectively in the class. And what is modification? Modification means it also comes in the adaptation. And modification means that alter or lower standards of the homework, or you can say the assignment, or you can say the curriculum. For example, changes in what a student is expected to learn alone meaningful participation. For example, because I talked that our class is diverse and different kind of students are there on the basis of their performances. All won't be doctor, all won't be become a teacher, because some have knowledge in music, some have good strength in their sports. So as a teacher, I have to assess them, I have to observe them. And modification means completely different homework from person to person in the class. For example, if I have 10 students, so 5 students are comfortable from that pace they are going through, but some students are not getting. So I have to make some changes in their homework, in their curriculum. So I have to make some deductions in homework. I have to make some deductions in the curriculum, in the content.
Yes,
That is the
Mohammed
modification.
Zubair Saab. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. You are speaking about modification in the class assignments and the homeworks given to different students as per their caliber.
Yeah.
I would like to know about Meli. Meli is here with us. Yes, Meli, and Nada has also joined.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I am agreed, and that's a really great opinion from everyone. Of course, based on your experience. Sometimes we are trapped in old style of teaching, like we have burden of curriculum, like we have to get into this point when our students sometimes get difficulties in catching up. They like Mr. Zubair said, they have different ability. They have different way to absorb a lesson. So that is actually very amazing that we need to see what we can modificate, we can adapt it, we can do things from our observation of our students. That's I'm learning a lot from this session, and that's because the burden of the curricula, like in Indonesia, myself, we have so many documents that we need to prepare before we teach in the classroom. So that is somehow make us less creative in conveying or delivering our lesson. So project-based learning is also an amazing idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, these documentations always make the enthusiasm of the teachers like less, and the teachers are thinking that they are under burden. And then when they enter in the class, by that time they are already their enthusiasm have already gone. Yes, Nadar, would you agree with this?
Yes, I come a little later, but I hear the speak, and I really agree with all of you here today, what you said, because today we are all in the same situation, and this COVID and this is very hard for us, and we don't know what is still waiting us, our students. So I think that this topic is very, very important to all of us.
Thank you very much. This is another sad story of this pandemic, and only God knows what is kept for teachers. You know, all over the world, the teachers are the ones who are maximum sufferer with the situation. And for us, the student, facing the student, dealing with them, even their small touch, innocent touch makes our days brighter and happier. And as far as their jobs and salaries and other things are concerned, I don't know about other countries like Indonesia or Singapore or other places, but in India, I have seen millions of teachers, they are like jobless nowadays, and they are suffering a lot in this regard. So anyway, let's pray to Almighty to now at least the situation should be better so that we can get back to the glory of education sector. So yes, sir, now we have come to the last segment of our program. So I request you to kindly conclude your session within 5 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So in one word, I can say teacher must be a reflective practitioner. Reflective practitioner means stop and think, about your practice, and you have to be thinking about your students, which kind, according to their caliber, according to their strength. Every students have their capabilities, and sometimes they have some limitations as well in the class. So consciously analyze your students and decide your learning style and teaching method, and you have to be selective in your material as well, because every learner is different in the classroom. So as a teacher, when you talk about these things, you can do all the things, because the other thing is that early identification, because when I go to the class, and I go into the class, I observe my students. Early identification is the important thing, because at the early stages, you can use many things except then the acceptability, because all students won't be doctor, all students won't be teacher, all students won't be engineer. So there is different in their intelligence. Some students have the social intelligence, some have mechanical intelligence, some have abstract intelligence. So according to their strength, we have to provide them the things. Access is the important thing nowadays. We are talking about the inclusive education. So barrier-free environment must be there. Good teachers must be there in the school. Infrastructure, adaptive toilets, ramps, everything, labs, computer labs must be there. Sensitization and awareness in the society about the education is the important thing, and provide equal opportunities for the overall empowerment of all the marginalized society, and provide need-based education. Need-based education is important. Every individual is different. And I talked about adaptation, modification, curriculum adaptation. And the other thing is that make a good rapport with your students, because if you are making good connection with them, they are following you, because as a teacher, teacher is an ideal, teacher is a facilitator, teacher is a manager. So they follow you, because if you are them, because we are talking about holistic approach, we are talking about 360-degree development over our students. And when we are reflective as a reflective practitioner, we can do all these things in our class. Did I fulfill the lesson plan? Who is doing most of the talking? Are students engaged in the class? Could students demonstrate their understanding? I have to change my technique or teaching style in the class. Which students have skills in their which students are good in sports and who are good in the other activities. So as a teacher, when I think in reflective manner, reflective practice is a field of study in itself, because it also draws on the theories of the concepts. But here as a teacher, you have to do a lot of things with this practice, and you can select your teaching methods and styles, and don't come to teach a lesson unprepared. Always be prepared, always engage them. Sometimes you can take them in field trips, sometimes you can use some other activities in the class. Don't make up the lesson as you go on. Make the lesson interactive and interesting in the class, because if you are making your lesson interesting, they will learn. Because as I told you earlier, all students are not auditory learner, some students are visual learner. So the rate of learning will be increased. When the participation will be increased, the rate of learning will be increased. So as a teacher, these are the things we can use. Your body language, the other things also matters. Your body language, your communication skills, your content knowledge, your skills. For example, stimulus variation. For example, sitting arrangement in the class, and the other things we can use. So these are the things. Questioning skill is also important, because as a teacher, I am assessing my students. Formal assessment is going on in the class during the teaching learning process. I have to ask many questions before the teaching, during the teaching, after the teaching. We have to assess our students in the formal or informal way. So these are the things. Your instruction must be clear. Yeah,
thank you, Mr. Zubair Saab. It is really very comprehensive. And if on the topic of like effective teaching learning, nothing can be more comprehensive, as you have gathered all the points all together, and within this short period of time you have tried to cover them all. Thank you very much for sharing beneficial knowledge. Now I can see Anil sir and Suraya madam and Meli, three of them are raising their hands. So I'll give you one minute time to share your thoughts. Yes, Anil, please.
Yes, ma'am.
First Anil will speak, and then Meli, and then Suraya.
Okay.
So you see, so am I audible? Yes. So golden nuggets Zubair Saab has shared. Beautiful, beautiful words. I have noted down all this. You see, beautiful. Need-based education, not want-based education. Then it should be flexibility, And then he has told feedback. Feedback, Zubair Saab, this is two type feedback. One is lag feedback, lagging, and other is lead feedback. Lead feedback is when you give every day to the child. So you have to improve here in a very polite way. Improve. And lagging is after the semester, after 6 months, you are giving the marks to the students. Only unfortunate part in our country is we are focusing too much on the marks. We are not focusing on the holistic development. Everybody we wants to get 99% marks, something like this. That spoils the whole thing. People are good in studies. Some people mug up, and physique wise, personality wise, they are almost poor. All other attributes are so poor. We have to see, and then nice word here used about storytelling, that every teacher has to learn the art of storytelling, and then only it will be more interesting the lesson is. Thank you so much. My 1 minute is over.
Thank you very much, Anilji, and
Yeah.
wonderful add-on points.
Yes.
And now coming to Melly, please, Melly.
Thank you. Before, I want to appreciate that I am here, but I underline one thing that Mr. Zubair said, that teacher has a role of reflective practitioner. I'm sorry. So it means that as a teacher, before we start with all the documents, all the preparation of teaching or the material, curriculum, everything, we have to be as the best person first. Personally, someone that we can performance as someone the students can learn from us. We are ready to be their role, to role and as the reflective, so they can learn more from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melly. Now coming to Madam Suraya.
Yes, I am agreed. But during this pandemic situation, we are working. We means we all faculties are working at institution, but the students are they are at home. But India is a totally land of village. More than 65% are villagers, so they haven't sufficient equipment. They haven't sufficient money, financial problem. So students are totally, most of them are unable to do online studies.
Yeah.
It's the drawback.
Yeah.
We are trying to do our best, but we became failure because they haven't sufficient money. Their parents have lost job. Most of them are unable to pay their fees. Recently, being an educational ambassador, I have adopted a child, a girl student, for her lifetime education facility. But how can we do for all students?
Yes.
Thank you, Suraya madam. This is the scenario, and first of all, congratulations for being so generous to adopt a girl child. And that's the reason why India has adopted many innovative ways of teaching. You must have heard in the news that in some villages they are using television for teaching purpose. In some villages they are using.
This is on mostly on social media, ma'am. We are facing actually, because students are from rural areas. More than 65% student of our class, they belongs to rural areas. They haven't
Yes.
strong
Yes, ma'am,
network.
you are right. You are right, but actually at one hand there is a threat to the life, the other hand there is a threat to education.
Yes.
Naturally, when there is a decision has to be taken between life and the education, then people will advise to go for the life, because in India the population is so dense that even if you permit any school or any college or any institution, you will find we cannot maintain the social distancing at all, because we don't have that many space in our schools, in our colleges. So anyway, now different governments has started opening, because in Bihar, in Uttar Pradesh, in Maharashtra, and in all some of the states, they are now starting the schools phase wise. They have started from 11th and 12th, in some states 9th to 12th. So gradually they're starting. We should understand our country's scenario, because our country is the most populous country. And secondly, our country, most of the land and the people are agricultural people. And then naturally these type of things are there. We have to understand the problems of our country. And we cannot compare ourselves with the advanced or with the developed country. But anyways, everybody is trying their level best at their own level. I have seen the teachers even inviting the students in their house, although it is so risky for them. but they are calling the children in their house.
Even teachers are flexible. For example, many students have only one instrument or one laptop at their homes. But sometimes I'm very flexible, because if they are calling me, sir, now my sister is taking class and he has to submit her assignment. So can you take my class at 7 p.m. in the night? So I can use all those
Yes,
things. So,
we are doing. We are working
so
24
you are
into
right,
7
ma'am.
now.
You are right, because like Halima ma'am said that it's a big country. Our country is very big and very dense country, and government is not able to provide all the facilities to every individual at the school or the college level. But it is very challenging. But hope we will, the things will change soon, and the pandemic will be over. We can pray and we can do. And we can try our best,
Thank you.
because the resources we have to use only those resources. The resources right now we have to work with those resources in our teaching learning process.
So thank you very much. We are going to have one international webinar on 6th September. And the theme of the webinar is International Context of Educational Reform. I have shared the link here in the chat box. If you are interested to be a speaker in that webinar, you kindly fill that form, because we are going to close it very soon. And 15th August will be the last day for the speakers registration. And then after that, we will open for the participant, the listeners registration. So please, if you are interested to be a speaker, kindly fill form. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And before I wind up and conclude my session, let me invite Ilyas Sahab to kindly propose vote of thanks to all the participants of today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this
Yes.
great webinar. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Ilyas Sahab
Thank you very
is here
much.
to thank.
शुक्रिया
Thank you
डॉक्टर
very
हलीमा
much.
तालिया, थैंक्स टू एवरीवन। और देखिए, जैसे कि बात चल रही थी प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग की, तो मैं समझता हूँ कि स्कूल खुद अपने आप में एक प्रोजेक्ट है। ये हमें पेंडेमिक में पता चल गया है। हम स्कूल जाते हैं तो बहुत कुछ सीखते हैं, स्कूल के माहौल से सीखते हैं, और स्कूल में हमें सीखना सिखाना ही चलता है, न सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बल्कि जो भी स्कूल में आ जाता है वही वहाँ से कुछ ना कुछ सीख कर जाता है। तो स्कूल को मैं खुद अपने आप में एक प्रोजेक्ट मानता हूँ। एनीवे, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। Thanks to everyone to join the session, and special thanks to Dr. Zubair. बहुत अच्छे उनके मशवरे लगे हमें, अच्छा उन्होंने बताया है। ध्यान रखेंगे इन चीज़ों का, हम भी आगे कुछ सिखा सके लोगों को अगर मौका मिला तो। और शुक्रिया डॉक्टर हलीमा तालिया कि आपने एक अच्छा सेशन किया है। आप लोगों को जोड़ने की कला जानती हैं और अच्छा प्रोग्राम करना जानती हैं, उनके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रगुजार है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, everyone. A big round of applause to Mr. Zubair and to all the participants. Thank you, Anil Goswami ji. Anil Goswami has army background. You all can see with his personality. And now he is a motivational speaker, a trainer. Thank you very much, Anil ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for providing me the opportunity.
I am from a very humble background, as told as from a small village in Haryana. So I started my English in higher secondary. Everybody can grow. This is what I want to request. There was no English up to 10th, up to 9th class. We started English only 10th. And when I started my service, I didn't know English, how to speak. But slowly, everybody grows. So everybody does. Or Zubair Saab, whatever you have told is golden nuggets. We are very thankful to you.
It's my pleasure, sir. It's my pleasure.
One of the best talented person you are. God bless you. Dr. Halima, thanks for investing your time. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Halima ma'am. Thank you, Anil sir. Thank you, Halima ma'am.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
Bless you, everyone.
खुदा हाफिज। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।